Hello and welcome everyone, this is Kalabovich coming to you with another Storybook Brawl video, Tank Top Edition. We have a new patch, 0.71.15. Well, we've been waiting for it for several days now. It was theoretically supposed to land earlier this week, but at least we do have it. And with it, there are not a lot of in-game balance changes, but there are a lot of changes to the game itself. A lot of bug fixes, a lot of smaller and bigger things. Let's take a look. So most importantly, in the collection page, now we can see a brand new version 1, as they call it, with heroes, characters, treasures, spells, and frames. So as far as frames go, you can choose a lot of them, but yeah, you can't choose this yet, but you can choose the version of the hero that you want to be playing. For example, Gwen. This one is the current starred one, so the preferred one. But I can switch it so that Dragon Mother Gwen is my preferred one. And I believe I need to do it for everyone that I have upgraded. So Morgan Le Fay, I can switch her to Morgan of the Rose. And who else is there? Peter Pan's to Super Pan, Potion Master to Trash Panda. And I believe there's one more. I don't have this one. And, well, no. That's probably that. Let me just take a look quickly if there are any other ones. Wait, Mrs. Klaus? No, those were just emotes. Yeah. For said Druncula, you have the alt of Dr. Acula, but I would have to buy this skin. But at least we know that there is a new skin. So if I just go for, well, you can't go for owned, unowned, because this just shows the heroes, not the skins. Anyway, cool changes and a very cool direction of where we're heading. But that's not all of the changes. Let me just grab the patch notes, and there we have. We have new art and new names. This is the new art for Baby Root. Looks more detailed. I mean, the overall theme of the art is kind of the same. I'll just have to get used to it. And as far as Grumblegore goes, with the new art comes a new name, and boom! Hilda. Also headshot. Small change. Balance changes, few and far between, but Chupacabra is getting +1/+1 to an 8/6, and Feasting Dragon gets +1 attack to a 6/8. Those changes are fine. Chupacabra has not been picked a lot. In my Slay strategies, I do want to go for Chupacabra more often than not, because that is my main way of making the back row do something. Because when it comes to regular Slay with Baba Yaga, Riverish Mermaid, Lightning Dragon into Jormungand and Echowood and stuff like that, sometimes you have a great front row. Let's say Big Lancelot into Lightning Dragon, into something else, into Jormungand. Okay, but your back row is a Baba Yaga that attacks for 3 or 6, a Riverish Mermaid that is very vulnerable, and another mermaid or another one of those. Sometimes a Shadow Assassin in 7, maybe. But what Chupacabra does is it gives Baba Yaga a lot of attack, and Baba Yaga can then attack on her own. So that's a good change, making Chupacabra more playable overall. As far as Feasting Dragon goes, yes, if you can get Feasting Dragon fast enough, or if you have any support for it in the way of, in your first 4-0 shop, you can see Feasting Dragon and Sporko, or you already have a Madmim, or you have a Dragon's Nest that I tend to pick early on, when I can, because then I know I'm going to be going for Feasting Dragon, because going for Feasting Dragon is fun, and this small change is actually going to be great in my opinion. Can't say in in any numerical terms or percentages, but I do like that. Dracula's Saber gets a nerf when an enemy character dies. Give your characters +1/+1 this brawl instead of +2/+1. Because, yeah, it has been probably the best level 5 treasure out there in the game right now. Or before this patch, rather. I tended to pick it all the time when I had the choice. So, must mean it's kind of OP for its level at least, right? So bringing this down a notch is still great. I mean, it's still a very good treasure, but at least it's not OP. It's similar terms, when they're just taking 1 point of stats away, like Merlin's ability from +2 +1 to +1 +1. He's still playable, but at least he's not OP, right? Well, Miri is just mediocre and into bad, but so that's a bad example. So Dracula Saber, no longer OP, no longer will I just skip all other treasures. But yeah, that was a necessary balance change for sure. Not going back to +2 +0, that's fine. +1 +1 is fine still. At least your health grows on your shooters in the back row. Fairy Queen's Wand, from +5 +5 to +7 +7. And the most interesting fact is what they're saying. The intention of Fairy Queen's Wand was never to compete with the other level 7 treasures. Yes, I mean, look at the newest edition, Radiant Prism. It's just so stupidly broken, which you could have seen in some of the videos that I've already posted on YouTube, and some videos you can see on YouTube in the coming days for sure. And the rest of the sentences. But it, Fairy Queen's Wand, was falling too far behind even the level 6s. And that is true. Last time I picked Fairy Queen's Wand was to have it instead of Monkey's Paw. +5 +5 into +5 +5 with a slight benefit if I won. Okay, but I can play an additional character. Right now, early on, if you get Fairy Queen's Wand, it can even be better than Black Prism if you don't have any synergies for Black Prism. Because remember, for that treasure, for example, it is sometimes difficult to find one spell, right? And you still have to pay for it. And if you don't have any synergies with mages that get buffed from you casting spells or, stuff like that. So now, Fairy Queen's Wand or Magic Sword +100. Well, for summons, probably this. Not 100% sure. We'll see. Still a good change because every change that brings unplayable stuff either completely out of the game or to a slightly higher level is a good change, in my opinion. Now, Snow Angel is back. Instead of the unplayable and the OP, we have something in between. When you level up, get a random good character of your level. So, this brings it a bit in the theme of what we want to do with Apocalypse, Grandmother, etc., which means you want to level up as fast as possible. And once you get to level 6, you have a 25% chance of grabbing Good Boy, Green Knight, Bearstein, or Hercules. Unless you already got a Hercules somehow, then 33% for one of the other 3. On the one hand, you don't have to sick and buy all the good characters that you see and churn through them. That's one. Second one, you don't get a level 2 good character early on. You just start with a level 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6. And once you get to level 6 and you get that level 6 good character, you can dream out of Snow Angel, and the ability is done. Okay? So I do like the change because it brings the Snow Angel closer to the ground, but the wings are still intact, so it might even fly a bit. Rules update. Now this is interesting because it's not a balance change. It's a rules update for Cupid. When I attack and damage a character, it attacks a character on its own side, which means if you have Soltec Ancient, it protects from stupid Cupid attacks now as well. And that is a good change, and that is a huge change because Soltec Ancient is such a great counter for so many strategies, but on its own, it's a 0/20, so theoretically it does nothing. But sometimes it is the best one, and sometimes it is the worst one. But it is the most interesting one for sure. One of the best changes, if not the best change in the patch, in my opinion, is if you cast It Was All a Dream, you can skip the hero selection if it's bad. And that's good. And you're gonna see how good it is, because now you don't need to be afraid of, I don't know if I want to cast it because I could find something worse. So for example, you're playing Mask, you have 2 copies of this early on. 3-0, you're casting It Was All a Dream. You have a medium array of heroes in the shop, but you are taking Fallen Angel, which is a great hero for mid-game, early and mid-game. but it is not great in the late game. And around 5-0, you start to wonder, okay, I am going in this direction, this route. So can I get something better in the hero shop? And obviously it was all a dream is taking up a bench space, so that is something. But right now, you're just casting it was all a dream. If you have a better choice, you take the better choice. But if you have a worse choice, you can just skip it. The time skipper. So, great change overall. Other changes, attack animation speed up changes. They ramp up more gradually and cap out at a slower speed. Could be fine. Banning treasures on certain heroes. What people have been clamoring for Loki is finally here. Great library card. Crystal Ball, Merlin's hat, Forking Rod, Wand of Weirding, Black Prism, no longer available. I wonder why they didn't take Potion Master's Cookbook, though. I will have to post that question on the Discord. And for King Midas, Sky Castle. Done. Amazing. Also, speaking of amazing, with Past Shadow already being unable to see Staff of the Old Toad. Great. And a ton of bug fixes and improvements. I'm not going to go through all of them. But the most fun one that I've seen here is third from last. Fixed a bug where if you had Krampus's sleigh and the opponent had Secret Stash and they lost the brawl, you would not get the option to choose it and the sleigh would sacrifice itself. No longer. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And I can't wait for more changes for the great future of Storybook Brawl. Have a great day, everyone, and see you at the tables.